Hey guys, Ben Paint here, and today we're back once again for another video, and this time we are back at Buckmore Park for round 6 of the Club73 Weekend Series. Obviously we came here a couple of months ago for the Kart Racer Champions, which didn't quite go our way, so we're hoping today to jump in and try and do a little bit better. Now unfortunately, obviously the last couple of races we've done in both SLK and Club73 I haven't actually been able to record, so I'm really excited to get the camera back on the kart and get you guys some footage. However, obviously the format for this one, we have got the 5-minute practice followed by an A final, which is actually a grid of 26 drivers today, and we're starting in 19th place, so we're going to have quite a lot of work to do, and we're just going to jump in and see what we can do. Really excited to see if we can get a little bit of redemption from the Kart Racer Champions that I mentioned earlier. However, we are going to jump into the rest of the video and see how we get on, but before we do, if you do enjoy this one, can you please leave a like on the video down below, as I really do appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out. But without further ado, we're going to jump into the footage now and see what we're able to do today. Jumping into the footage then, guys, as mentioned, we're starting in 19th position, and the whole goal of this race was to try and make our way up to 7th if we could. Otherwise this whole race was going to be a drop round and arguably one of our worst results of the year. So quickly we did get jumped off the start, but we're able to make that place back and then make an additional 2 overtakes pretty early, moving us up into 17th position, which I was really happy with. We then get sort of stuck on the outside, but we're able to carry the momentum coming back down into the second section of the track, making our way and confirming those 2 positions that we're able to make early on. We're tucked up here behind Toby Azel and Samuel Essery, and I was hoping to just try and force our way through here pretty quickly, but we do get pile driven down the inside by Jack Goldsmith, who makes a nice move up into next position, and this is where the whole race unravels immediately. I'm going to speak a little bit louder, as I know for a fact that I said some unseen or unheard of words, and I'm also going to let you guys listen to them as I come up the hill. So clearly, as you can tell, I was very pleased with the start we had. Now, we were down in last place at this point with a 5-second deficit to the drivers up ahead, but we were able to just get our head down over the next 2 or 3 laps, and you can see here that we were able to catch up quite quickly. We've got Toby McAllister Brown here on the right hand side. We're able to dive down the inside of him quite quickly and sort of rescue 1 position back almost immediately, back up into 24th position, the high on the highs of racing, moving us up into 24th. And now I want to just try and keep this momentum going, as I caught up to the back of these guys quite quickly as they were all battling with each other at the beginning of the race, and I was hoping to just capitalise on this and continue to sort of push forward, not let our head drop too much, and try and salvage anything that we could from this race. So up ahead we got Ben Hughes, who has dropped from 1st position back to 22nd. He was having a bit of a rough day, and we've also got Tyler Ball up ahead of us in 23rd, who is giving him a little bit of pressure. So on the left here, as we went through the first corner there, we did see Jack Underdown, who had been spun out, so that was a free position up into 23rd for us, which we can never complain about. And you can see here once again that Tyler's really trying to put the pressure on Ben Hughes, who's taking some tight lines to almost defend his position in 21st now. So I was hoping to try and sort of make a move at this point, wait for an opportunity to open up, try and get a bit closer if I could while they were battling with one another, and this is exactly what happened here. So we've got both of them really going hammer and tongs with one another, losing time to the guys up ahead. Tyler goes for a move down the inside, and I decide to take a nice wide line just to switch it back nice and easily to gain a position from Ben to move ourselves up into 22nd place. Now I was hoping to try and work with Tyler now at this point to really try and bridge the gap to the guys up ahead, who are still all having a bit of a battle with one another. We've got Will Sodgen up ahead of us in 20th. He's sort of the next person out the road to really try and go for, and obviously we did start in 19th, so we've only lost a couple of positions so far. We got Tyler going really wide into the first hairpin here in the first section of the lap, and I could see that he was looking quite weak through each of the corners, but he did have that overwhelming top end speed coming into the straighter parts of the track, just due to weight. Call it what you want, I'm going to blame it on weight, as I was weighing in at 88 kilos at this event, which is never really something that you want to happen, but we did capitalise on him once again, making a bit of a mistake, and this moves us up into 21st position. So we've now only 2 positions down from where we started. We jump forward, as you can see, we've now managed to catch up to Will Sodgen, and Reggie Mosley, who are battling up ahead. They've been going hammer and tongs with each other once again, which has caused them to lose time to the pack that was sort of breaking away in the distance once more. So again, as earlier, I was just hoping to capitalise on any sort of fighting that they were doing and really just try and pounce on any opportunities that opened up to us, as I didn't want to just go barreling in and sort of ruining the party. So we're trying to hold as much momentum as we can through the first couple of corners, as that is where we were losing the most time in KROC when we came here a couple of months ago. So I was really trying to focus on getting as good an exit out of the second hairpin as we could, and with this we were able to really get a good run coming back down the hill, and we were able to move ourselves up into 20th place as we exit Garda. So I was really happy with this to now have gained another position, and we are only one place off where we started. So not too much lost at this point in the race, and some good experience gained from coming from basically 5 seconds off at the back of the pack to now be back in the fight with some of the other guys. But Reggie was having absolutely none of it, sending it back down our inside into the first corner. So losing out there once again, and this began probably one of the most intense battles that we had all day, going backwards and forwards between myself and Reggie, which you will see throughout the whole of this video. So we are in 21st then once again, so back down in one position. I was hoping to just try and keep my head focused, get back and keep the momentum that we had when we were catching up to the drivers, rather than getting stuck in and battling too much. We take a little bit of a funky line coming down the hill, and that obviously caused us to lose a little bit of time, but we are able to get on the power nice and early, and it gives us the momentum that we need out of the corner once again. Obviously this is a track where it is quite technical on the brakes and the throttle, so you really have to regulate it well, and it was just something I was struggling with. Obviously this is the 4th time now that I've been to Buckmore, and I just think that this is one of our bogey tracks, if I'm honest. Always have pretty horrible results here, so I was hoping today we were going to come in and get a bit of a better result, but clearly that wasn't going to be the case in this one. So you can see here that without battling, Reggie and Will are now closing up on Luke Power, who's up ahead. We had a nice race with him last time out at Bayford, so I was hoping to try and stick with these guys, stay in the slipstream, as it was actually quite powerful. It's very... You didn't really realise it at the time, but when you're in behind someone, you do gain a nice bit of momentum, especially coming up the hill, which is something that I was struggling with the whole day. I was losing a bit of time there to everyone else, but you can see once again really excelling through the corners, but then losing out on our time as soon as we had to really get our foot down. And this is exactly what I meant by sort of standing behind someone. So you can see I've got the slipstream here behind Reggie, and this is really allowing me to keep up with him rather than him jetting off into the distance. We've got Tyler Bull behind us though. He's having absolutely none of it. He's trying to force his way down the inside here. I go for a semi-defense going into the first hairpin here, which is obviously costing us time. I was trying to say to him, look, let's work together. We're catching up with the guys up ahead. There's no point squabbling over 20th and 21st position, because at the end of the day in Club 73 you're only getting 2 and 1 points respectively between you. So at this point we were pretty much racing for scraps. So if we could work together and all sort of work as a pack, we'd be able to catch up with the guys that were sort of pushing away into the distance and hopefully pick up a few more points between us. But obviously what you are going to see as we go throughout the rest of this video is that this didn't really happen. We all sort of had a bit of an ego off between one another, and you can see our times are quite consistent here. 50.5 our fastest lap time. We had a 50.6 the lap before and a 50.7 there. Unfortunately for us, we just open the door, leave it open to Tyler, who then tries to sort of force his way back ahead of us, which I was quite annoyed about, as there was no need for that. And now this then sort of puts us under the pressure of Jack Underdown, who was on a bit of a surge after he got taken out earlier in the race, and he's now managed to sort of slip his way down the inside past us. He was up into 20th, and obviously as we didn't have the inside line, that then allows Tyler to go back through. I was having absolutely none of it, so coming down the hill once again, I'm really trying to throw the car in, obviously nowhere to go when you're on the outside, and we just sort of got stuck and had to succumb to 22nd position once again. So we're sort of making progress, losing our progress, and just we weren't really making any inroads into the other guys that are up ahead of us. So we do skip forward once again, as this is where we managed to stay until the guys decided to fight with one another once again. You can see now we're on the back of this big cluster of carts up ahead of us. Everyone's having a bit of a battle with one another, going 2 by 2 down the hill, and I was really hoping for a bit of an opportunity here to send up the inside to try and gain a bit of a position and a free place. But fortunately we didn't quite have the overspeed to switch it back to the left hand side of the circuit here through Garda to really get a good run out of the corner. We sort of get squeezed to the left here, and we just sort of follow it through to move ourselves up into 21st. Not the cleanest of moves, but it's one that we we sort of had to do just to ensure that we weren't sort of straddling at the back of this train. We wanted to try and force our way through the train as much as we could, whilst also not losing too much time in doing so. So you can see here Reggie sort of half looking to the inside, it compromised himself and Luke Power, and here I thought once again it's another opportunity just to force ourselves down the inside to take another free position, as Reggie the whole day he just looked quite weak when it came to actually going for the overtakes, which is something that he could probably work on in the future. Obviously just stuck in behind the train, looked like he wasn't confident enough to really force his way through. So I decided to sort of take that sort of burden off of him, take the position, and I was hoping to try and work with him, as I knew that he was very quick in a straight line and obviously a lot quicker than me, but I was quicker through the corners and more confident going for overtakes. So I was hoping he was just going to bump us along, give us that extra bit of a speed boost. I was trying to tell him to, look, let's work together and really try and push forward and get ahead of the guys, as we are just sort of languishing back and we're just losing more and more time to everyone else. You can see the majority of the people that are on the left hand side going down the hill already, so we're so far back already, and it's only about 5 to 10 minutes into the race, so we got plenty of time to catch back up. There's no point squabbling this early on for these positions. Maybe if it was the last couple of laps it would make a bit more sense, but as we're coming down the hill once again we're really closing up to Luke here, taking a better line, really making the most of our momentum, and we dive it down his inside, almost clipping the barrier there on the inside, but able to make the move stick, running off the track a little bit, which obviously probably isn't the best thing, but Luke then is going to overtake us later, so it's obviously not a problem. Coming back down the hill once again, as I mentioned, we get overtaken by Luke, so he manages to force his way down the inside, much akin to how I did in the previous couple of laps. So he was now able to sort of force his way back up into 19th once again, which is obviously where we started the race. I was down in 20th, hoping now at this point, obviously we did it with Luke at Bayford, I was hoping to push him along, or him to push me along. We just work together and try and catch up to Will, who is up ahead, but I could see his kart was quite understeery, so he was really struggling through the corners. We almost get spun out there on the exit of the first corner as we tried to move back to the right. Reggie then once again goes up our inside for the 80th time in this race, and I was really getting quite annoyed at this point. I wanted to try and work our way forward, and we were just squabbling for these positions. There was no need to squabble for these positions, as we were just really getting stuck further and further back. We're losing more and more time to everyone else, and it just was hampering our race quite a lot. So you can see once again we take a nice run coming down the hill, and then going through Garda we take a nice apex there once again, but unfortunately we just don't quite have the speed that the other guys do on sort of the straights and the exit of the corner, and it's just causing us to languish as we just sort of come up the hill, really struggling in this section of the track. But we're sticking it in behind these two guys once again, hoping that they're either going to work together or take each other out, as we want that position off of both of them to sort of get back where we started. So again, taking a nice clean line here, sticking more to the right hand side here, just to, in case we could go for a bit of a late move or a switch back. It wasn't coming, so instead we're just sat in and tucked in behind these two here, and we're just hoping to push forward, catch up to Will, and not really lose too much time to one another. Hopefully if we can just sit in behind each other, bump each other along, then we're going to get on to a good result. But you can see here I just decided to pounce on an opportunity there. Reggie goes into the back of Luke, losing his momentum coming down the hill. So instead of sitting behind and working together, as I mentioned, I decided to dive up the inside, take that position off him, and once again I was trying to tell him, look, let's work together, we can both get past Luke if you really want to squabble with me after, but there's positions to be had here if we actually work together rather than sort of just squabbling with one another. So again, we're catching Luke through the corners quite a lot, and again coming into the first hairpin, taking a nice line here just to ensure that we keep and preserve as much momentum coming through this section of the track as we can, taking a nice tight line once again, but unfortunately we just don't quite have the exit speed that Luke has. Now we have actually gained a position through this race so far from Harrison Kirkham actually being given a black flag, which I didn't actually realise at the time until after the race had finished. I had seen him sort of closing up on me and everyone else from behind, and I honestly thought he was lapping us all, if I'm brutally honest, but he wasn't. He in fact got a black flag. So there was another free position that we had gained throughout the race so far, which obviously we didn't had to work for. And again, we can see that Luke here is sort of looking over his shoulder, decided that enough's enough, send it up the inside into the first corner, much like everyone has been doing to me throughout the whole day, as I thought that we were close enough. And now it was just a case of, could we pull away, could we work together, and could we catch up with anyone else throughout the rest of the race. Now unfortunately nothing else happened. We sort of gained about a second gap to the guys behind as they began to squabble with one another, and then we were just equal on pace with the two guys up ahead that were battling towards the end of the race, and this is in fact the last lap. So we come across the line in 19th position for this one, where we started the race. Bit disappointed with this, as this is obviously one of our worst results ever in Club 73, and coming all this way just to sort of get taken out on the first lap is always just a kick in the goonies, but it is what it is. We take the experience from it, and now we're going to get some post-race thoughts.
Okay then guys, so we've just finished up our race. Unfortunately, just a bit of an incident on the first lap caused us to be put right at the back of the pack. Nothing more I could really do there. Was trying to drive as best as I possibly could, managing to claw our way back to 19th position, as at 88 kg it really isn't going to be an easy task to try and make up as many positions as we could. Managed to fight our way back through quite quickly, but just getting held up in the pack, battling with one another rather than working together too much, which was a bit of a shame. I believe that is probably going to be our worst result of the year, and with that in mind, I'm going to leave the overall standings for the championship up on the screen now, so we'll see where we end up after that one. Obviously we were in 5th before this round began, so we're going to see where we drop down to after that. However, this does in fact bring us to the end of the video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, can you please leave a like on the video down below, as I really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out. As always, just not really having the luck at Buckmore, and it always worries me whenever I come up here for later on in the year, especially for SRK as well. So hopefully next time we come here, we're going to have a bit of a better time. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.